Hi guys. So about last month, if you remember, Volkswagen sent us the Arteon by flatbed. Okay, and I think that's a very good initiative on Volkswagen Passenger Car Malaysia's part, because that is the best way, in a way, for us to continue our work reviewing cars whilst staying in the safest possible means. So today they're sending another car here, and well, because of a slight miscommunication between me and the driver, I've had to walk a bit to pick up the car, but now the car is here, and there we have it. We are getting the Tiguan. 遲到車匙喺入邊係嘛？車匙喺入邊係嘛？ Okay, okay. Okay, so sanitize the interior, the touch points. All right. So we see the two Tiguan side by side. That's the 1.4 Highline. This is the 2.0 R line. Functional equipment, they are identical. So you see both of them have the same spec headlights, but just differently styled front bumpers. The grille also is actually the same between the two. It's just that the 2-litre model has the R line badge here, the 1.4 does not. From the side, you see that the 2-litre model is painted all the way down, whereas the 1.4 has this unpainted claddings here at the side. What I like about this differentiation is that they are able to separate the 2-litre and the 1.4 into different looking prepositions without making the 1.4 feel like the inferior option. They're both given the same functional equipment, just different in terms of styling. So both of them have adaptive LED headlights. They both have keyless entry, front, driver side and passenger side. But of course, you can see different wheel design, 19 inches versus 18 inches. But that's fair. That is entirely fair. So they have created two different flavors, but without the lower model feel distinctly inferior. The 1.4 litre model has a more robust, has a more rugged, traditional SUV kind of appeal, look, whereas the 2-litre R line here is more performance oriented, it's more aggressive, it's more expressive in terms of its design. I mean, look at this. One look at the way their fronts are styled. You know the 2-litre model is styled in a way to grab attention, whereas the 1.4 is more reserved. But when you look at the details, such as the headlights, the fact that it has keyless entry, and you go to the back, you have the full LED taillights, you see that it's not dressed inferior, it's just dressed more plain, more simple. Before we go in, you see this little detail here, the Volkswagen wording under B pillars. Very nice touch. Now here's the cabin of the 2-litre R line model. You see the R stitching here on the seats, and also the more aggressive R steering, flat bottom, okay, with these little styling details here. Both the 1.4 and the 2-litre model has this digital instrument cluster display. Let me just start the engine. Now, of course, the 2-litre model here is all-wheel drive, so it has it's stated here 4Motion, and it has the 4-wheel drive control system, 4-wheel drive mode control system that allows you to set snow, road, mountain, and expert driving off-road. 2-litre model also has these metal pedals here. All right, and 2-litre model has sat-nav, GPS navigation, which the 1.4 does not get. But otherwise, if you come from this, all right, you jump from this, now I magically transport you to the 1.4. What's the difference? Seats, no R line badge, not a big deal. Don't have 4-wheel drive mode selection there. Once again, no all-wheel drive, not a problem. You get the same digital instrument cluster display as well, respectable. The head unit is a little bit different. The 2-litre model has sat-nav, it has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. This one does not. This one has voice command, but it's okay. It's still a nice looking touchscreen, very high res. Both sides have reverse camera. So functionality wise, right, I would say whether you choose the 1.4 or the 2-liter model, it really makes no difference. Now we come to the back, right? We see the difference between the 2-liter and the 1.4. Both of them have the same LED taillights now. They both have powered tailgate. They both have reverse camera. Even the tailpipes, both of them have the same dual trapezoidal design. The 2-liter model here has the sportier R-line trim with the chrome insert here and the gloss black finish, whereas the 1.4 has a more rugged looking unpainted panel here.
When I switched to Pro mileage, in my case, I got 46-47% of savings for that car.
Pro mileage was the only one that gave me 5,000 extra value to cover, yet still cheaper, a lot less. A lot
Turn
less.
up!
You know, this may be the base model Tiguan, but once you get the engine on boost, it pulls more than strongly enough for our day-to-day city use. In any case, right now on the LDP, it's jammed as usual. It hardly feels like a lockdown, if I'm to be honest. And in this kind of driving settings, if you go back 4 or 5 years ago, early iterations, or even today, some DCTs, not so well honed DCTs, will struggle in this kind of environment because the mechatronic module does not have the sufficiently refined calibration that allows it to function smoothly in stop-go traffic. Volkswagen, to their credit, they did not pioneer DCT technology, yes, but they brought DCTs to the masses, beginning with the Golf Mark 5 generation and slowly the rest of the range. So Volkswagen was the car maker that put DCTs into the B segment, the C segment, the D segment, and all that experience, they have refined it and made their latest iterations of their DSGs to be refined enough that in day-to-day driving traffic conditions like this, in stop-go traffic like this, it practically can be driven with almost the smoothness of a torque converter gearbox. You see, previously, last time, right, when DCTs were new, we accepted there's a slight trade-off between the smoothness of a torque converter automatic transmission, but the fast, snappy gear changes for DCT, the better fuel efficiency for the DCT. So Volkswagen, they have of course preserved the snappy gear changes. They have preserved the fuel efficiency aspect of the DCTs, but they have enhanced the low speed smoothness. And you can tell by driving the Tiguan or even other models in their lineup now, the Passat, you can tell that the DSGs in these cars have received multiple generation improvements and renewals to their design, that they are where they are today. So you see, like in this kind of driving conditions, the Tiguan 1.4 here, it offers a completely stress-free driving experience, if you like. This has been a hallmark of Volkswagen's MQB platform cars. They have always had that feeling, that well-calibrated feeling about them, in the sense that the amount of inputs that you put in translates commensurately with the outputs that you get from the car, with the response that you get from the car. And you see now, as the road opens up and I open up the throttle a bit more, I apply a bit more throttle, the engine pulls along ever so effortlessly. Of course, this being a low displacement engine, there is that slight delay in the response, but once you get used to it, there is more than enough muscle in this car here for your everyday use, right? And handling, impressively precise and confidence inspiring, and the ride, my god, it's impressively well judged. Volkswagen, they really have struck that fine balance between confidence-inspiring handling, that composure on the road, and also delivering usable day-to-day comfort. So the Tiguan is also rather maneuverable. Even though this is the long wheelbase version, it does not feel any less nippy or nimble compared to the previous standard wheelbase model. In fact, it hardly feels imposing at all to drive. Okay, so you see, as I stepped on the brake pedal harder, there was a marked reduction in the vibrations as well as the idling revs of the engine, and that shows that the transmission has disengaged. All right, and I released it, it re-engaged very seamlessly. The problem with automated clutch-based transmissions, DCTs, CVTs like the Punch CVT of Proton, or single clutch automated manual gearboxes, the tricky part is always the calibration of your clutch mechatronics system that controls the engaging and disengaging of the clutch packs when you are idling, when you are in stop-go traffic, when you're in crawling traffic, or when you're creeping. Right? These are really the trickiest parameters in transmission calibration. See, in cars with torque converter is very easy, because the torque converter allows a fair degree of slip in the torque converter, whereas when you want to allow the clutch to creep, to take off gently, you inevitably have to allow that small degree of slip between the clutch plates, and that is very tricky to manage, whether is it you're doing it by foot or by computer control. And a lot of car makers struggle in getting that control right. So earlier in the day, I was driving the Tiguan 1.4. Now I am taking the 2-liter model. The 1.4 gives 150 horsepower. This one gives 220 horsepower. However you feel it, there is a significant difference. And also you get 2 extra driven wheels. This is all-wheel drive. The 1.4 is 2-wheel drive. If you are a regular long-distance driver, right? You always do KL Penang, you always do KL JB, KL Kuantan. The 2-liter here makes a bit more sense, because I always say when it comes to driving long distances, right, a bigger capacity engine always has the advantage, turbocharged or not. The advantage, the difference is there. Here, right now, as I am negotiating town traffic, all right, where you can't even hit triple-digit speeds, the only real difference I can tell you between this and the 1.4 is that the takeoff from standstill or rolling acceleration, there is less lag, slightly less lag, because this is already a naturally bigger engine. The natural amount of power available before the boost kicks in is actually decent enough. Like you see right now, the traffic in front of me, I drive 1.4 versus I drive 2.0, no difference. The 2.0 here, situations like these, there is no room for the 2-liter model to exert the full potential of its performance advantage over the 1.4. So if you are just buying your Tiguan AllSpace for your day-to-day urban grind, in all honesty, the 1.4 is actually good enough. Cukup makan, boleh pakai. So the Tiguan AllSpace. Now, the improvements of the 2021 model year, they are not major. But then again, because they came at no cost increase, it doesn't matter. It's good that they added in all the same. Now, of course, they added more barang onto the 1.4 versus the 2.0, but still, overall, the Tiguan AllSpace was a compelling package, enough to start with. Any minor improvements merely serve to enhance an already appealing package. Now, on the question of whether it's better that you buy the 1.4 or the 2-litre model. In all honesty, the 1.4-litre model on its own, it's good enough. You get more than enough performance. You get all the necessary amenities that you would expect in a car at that price range, 160,000 ringgit. So if you are coming from, or if you are cross-shopping it against a CR-V or a mid-range CX-5, it's still within similar price point. And from a monthly installment perspective, the difference becomes even less significant. What occasion would justify the 40,000 ringgit upgrade to the 2-litre model? Well, if you want your Tiguan to look more exciting, more sporty, then admittedly the 1.4 does have a bit of a more conservative appearance, if you like, right? It suits my taste, to be honest, but there are those of you who are younger at heart and you want something a bit more garang, and of course the 2-litre model looks the part with the bigger rims, the flaring on the body kit and all that. So therein, the 2-litre model has a more, and the thing is that if you buy the 1.4 and you do the same kind of body kit enhancements, it's going to end up costing you about 8k, 10k anyways. All right, and the thing is that you get a car with the looks, but not quite the same level of performance. Now, and onto performance, as I said earlier, the 2-litre model, you get an upgrade. All right, there is no doubt about it. You get a substantial upgrade. The 1.4 gives you enough to go by, but the 2-litre model makes a difference if you are a regular highway traveler. Your regular long distance, the 2-litre makes a difference. In town driving, only when, perhaps in stop-go traffic, the 2-litre model feels a bit more effortless off the line. But once you are already moving, you have momentum behind you, all right, and you are just wanting to amble along at 70-80 kilometers per hour, 1.4 versus 2-litre really makes to no difference whatsoever. And either way you choose, right, you are getting an SUV that has one of the most advanced engine and drivetrain combinations in the segment. All right, and for a turbocharged engine, because Volkswagen was one of the earliest to bring turbocharging, they were one of the earliest to bring dual clutch transmissions to the mass market. Nobody else has the same kind of expertise in refining these two technologies, all right, for them to be suitable for day-to-day use. Because you see, the thing is that, right, when you are making a turbocharged engine, when you are calibrating a DCT for high performance, it's actually easy, because all you are thinking of is how to squeeze maximum performance out of your car. And people who buy high performance cars, they have that mindset of anticipating some compromise. But when you are catering your vehicle to average drivers, to drivers who want to just go about their day-to-day business, point A to point B, without fuss, the tricky part is to ensure that even when you are not exerting the car to its full potential, it still feels pleasant enough to drive. It still feels easy to live with, and that is what Volkswagen is very good at doing with a turbocharged engine with a dual clutch transmission. The creeping behavior of the Volkswagen DSG, I would say, is smooth enough that somebody jumping over from a torque converter transmission will barely notice the difference. Now, from an equipment standpoint, the 1.4 and the 2-litre model, honestly, in terms of functional equipment, right, the things that you get on the 1. But here's the crucial thing. In terms of functional equipment, the 1.4 already get most of the things that you need, all right, compared to the 2-litre model. So the 40k difference that you pay to jump from the 1.4 to the 2-litre model really goes entirely into the engine, into the drivetrain, and mostly the body kit, and of course sat nav. So in terms of things that you use, that contributes to your day-to-day life, the 1.4 actually is The 1.4 actually is cukup makan really what. It's good enough for your day-to-day use.